the most deranged alien escape room I've ever witnessed. A woman wakes up to find herself dressed in a very sexy, tight-fitting suit. She looks around, finding herself in what seems like a coffin made of pure steel. Lisa tries everything, but the steel door remains unmovable. Strangely, a glowing bracelet has appeared on her wrist. She attempts to remove the device. The steel door now shows grooves from her efforts, but the bracelet remains intact. Just as Lisa sits down in resignation, expecting her demise, the steel door behind her suddenly opens. After much deliberation, she crawls into the duct, but the next second, as the steel door closes, the device on her hand begins a countdown. Lisa has no choice but to crawl forward through the duct. Terrifying growls echo in the darkness. Seeing an exit above her, she can only move quickly in a prone position, but halfway through, a steel door suddenly blocks all the light. Lisa reaches it and unexpectedly finds a narrow passage next to it. She adjusts her position, enduring the pain of her chest being squeezed, and crawls in. After finally emerging from the hole, what appears before her is a passage identical to the previous one. Lisa continues onward. This time, halfway through, a step leading upwards appears. As she climbs it, the step begins to rise slowly. She moves desperately, quickly, and at the last moment, manages to touch the edge of the step, just at the moment before she was about to be crushed to a pulp. Although she passed the first level, the countdown on her hand started again. As Lisa looks up, her scalp tingles. What appears before her is a desiccated corpse, also wearing the same device on its hand. Clearly, the previous person failed to pass the second level. The pungent smell is indeed overwhelming. Lisa, fighting back nausea, moves the corpse aside and crawls past, but a steel door once again blocks her way, and the bracelet turns red at this moment. A 1-minute countdown begins. Numerous flamethrowers appear above her head, and the temperature rises instantly. Just as Lisa is at a loss, a recess suddenly appears behind her. She doesn't dare to stay, retreating quickly. A second before she hides, a glass panel closes the hatch, and the countdown on her wrist just zeroes out. Fire engulfs the area instantly. Just as Lisa thinks she has passed the second level, another wave of flames strikes. After 2 rounds of attack, the flamethrowers begin to retract. The glass slowly opens, and she is forcefully pushed out. The wall above starts to rapidly descend, leaving just enough space for Lisa to lie flat. Even turning over is now a luxury, but the countdown on her hand starts again. She adjusted her mindset and moved slowly like a worm, but as she continued to crawl, a pool of water suddenly appeared before her. After tentatively tasting it, and confirming it was fresh water, Lisa got her first replenishment. With only 8 minutes left on the countdown, she didn't dare to hesitate and took a deep breath before diving into the water. Fortunately, this challenge was only 50 meters long. Lisa reached another passage. Before she could rest, water gushed down, quickly filling the narrow space. She held her breath and narrowly escaped the third challenge. Then, a man's voice suddenly sounded. Lisa followed the voice and crawled quickly, but the floor suddenly cracked and a strong acidic odor hit her. She tore off a strip of cloth, which dissolved a third of its length in just 1 second. Lisa, supporting herself with her hands on either side, moved slowly like a toad, but at the last moment, one of her legs still fell into the acid pool. Although slightly injured, Lisa smiled happily, for she had finally seen another living person. Lisa's ordeal in the terrifying alien escape room was all her own doing. She lay in the middle of the road, wanting to end her life, but when the car approached, she got scared and stood up. The man kindly gave her a ride, but the radio broadcasted news of an escaped murderer, and this person was none other than the man beside her, Adam. When Lisa woke up, she found herself trapped in a coffin-sized container. After surviving 4 levels, Lisa finally met another living person, the driver Adam. They were both captured and forced to survive in this escape room, treated like lab rats. At that moment, the countdown timer on their wrists sounded simultaneously, and countless flamethrowers were extended one after another. Only one refuge appeared between them. When the gate opened, they scrambled out like bulls in a ring. In front of the refuge, Adam grabbed Lisa's neck, but he couldn't overpower her. Lisa kicked Adam out and then pinned his arm, and that's when the glass came down. Adam lost a hand and his timer hit 0. Flames instantly burst out, turning Adam into a roasted pig. A skull-shaped camera suddenly appeared above Lisa. It healed the burns on Lisa's legs. Then, it spit out a plastic tube and connected it to her navel. Lisa's lost memories were fully restored. It turned out that when Adam attacked her, a meteor suddenly fell, and it was the aliens who saved her life. Now, Everything she was experiencing was a test to bring her back from the brink of death. Seeing that Lisa had understood its intentions, the skull camera retracted, and the glass door opened again. When Adam's arm was pushed out, Lisa inadvertently saw a pattern on Adam's wrist, a mark that seemed to be a guide to escape. Suddenly, a large fan rapidly approached, and Lisa quickly crawled into another passage. The countdown on her wrist started again. This challenge was about escaping a monster's pursuit. Glancing back at the monster, she was so frightened that she crawled forward rapidly. Finally, at a corner, a narrow corridor trapped the monster's body. Moving forward, Lisa saw a different kind of challenge. There were two paths to choose from. She suddenly remembered the mark on Adam's hand, a diamond shape representing left and right. Following the first guide, she crawled into the left passage. Entering, the space was completely different from the outside, and for the first time in this game, she stood up. The walls on both sides projected her life's past, and she finally saw the cause of her daughter's death. It was her negligence that caused her daughter to fall to her death. While Lisa was engulfed in self-blame, the monster reappeared, and she had no choice but to crawl into the only passage available. The monster was hot on her heels, and ahead of her were spikes and iron hooks. The blue sky and white clouds were just across the way, so maybe this was the last hurdle. With a 1-minute countdown starting, numerous flamethrowers appeared again. Lisa endured the pain and crawled over the iron net, her body scratched and bleeding. By the time she got through, she was exhausted, and the countdown hit 0. The fire erupted, but Lisa fell below. It turned out that the path through the thorns was the way to life. But when she woke up and saw the scratches on the steel door, she fell into endless despair. Having struggled through countless levels, she was now back to the beginning and too weary to try again. The skull appeared once more, healing the wounds on her body. Looking at the passage leading back to the first challenge, Lisa dove in without hesitation. First, she passed the charred corpse, then hid from the flames in the compartment, jumped into the water pool, and finally reached the fourth challenge, the strong acid. This time, instead of passing quickly, she put the bracelet into the acid. As the strong acid corroded it, the bracelet finally fell off, revealing her escape route. Lisa memorizes the route and moves quickly through the levels. When she reached the fork in the road again, her path to survival surprisingly lay on the right. Guided by the markers, Lisa proceeded without any obstacles, perhaps feeling the game was too easy for her. The aliens released monsters into the mix. After being pursued by the monsters, Lisa entered a gravity space. It was like a magnet, spinning them around and temporarily halting the monster's advance. After crawling out, Lisa threw her bracelet away and headed for another passage. The monster, however, followed the bracelet. Crawling slowly, she encountered a strange biological door, leading to a womb-like room. Many bizarre creatures lay outside the blood membrane, and one of them conveyed goodwill to her. Lisa entered the second cave and found her bracelet there, with the creature stuck at the entrance. The moment Lisa got her bracelet, a countdown timer sounded and woke up the creature, so she had to go back the way she came. When she returned to the flame channel, Lisa hid in the shelter. The monster in the glass outside of the dry eyes angry. Unexpectedly, the flamethrower retracted, and the glass reopened. Lisa and the monster tangled in a fight. Lisa pressed her foot against the monster's head. As the wall behind her slowly pushed forward, she used the leverage to burst the monster's skull. Lisa then cut through the biodoor again and came to the last passage. Looking at the prompt on her wrist, she was about to climb right when a basketball suddenly popped out from the left passage. Her deceased daughter Nina appeared.
Do you remember?
Hearing Nina's words, Lisa, in a daze, followed Nina into the left passage. But then Lisa, looking at the prompt on her wrist, suddenly realized that all these illusions were a test for her. With tears in her eyes, she turned and left. Reaching the right passage, a steel knife blocked her way, presenting 3 challenges. Looking at the blue sky, Lisa silently calculated the timing of the falling knives. The first knife had a 4-second gap, which she used to quickly crawl past. The second knife had only a 3-second window, but Lisa narrowly made it through. However, the third knife left only a 1-second chance. She knew she had to leave something behind to get through. Closing her eyes, Lisa crawled forward, losing a foot as the price to complete all the games. Lisa then passed out and her body slowly floated up. When she woke up, all her wounds had healed, and she was in a paradise, reborn. Even her daughter had come back to life. as if it were a reward from the aliens for completing the game. This is indeed a movie with a wildly imaginative plot. The alternative gameplay and oppressive atmosphere are like a twisted version of an escape room, and in the end, the completion of the test can even lead to another planet. It is really worth recommending the film. Follow me for more exciting content.